communication to the chairperson of the CDC, Mr. Cool. He said that President Wu, in the election, he made a lot of promises to the poor great elections. And all of those promises he made.
What a letter the man sent to Janga Cool?
I'm not the chairperson of CDC. I don't know. Maybe I'm making mistake in name.
You quoting the man's letter. I say, where is the letter? How did you see it? Because I've not seen.
The letter is on social media. I asked your opinion.
I've not seen any letter anyway.
Yeah, so the letter is on the social media. So he said that in our communication, he said that the president, we have promised a lot of things in the country. For example, he promised the people for we have the field of president country. Example.
Okay. So that's why you say he said he resigned because President we have promised the people of Grand Chile and didn't deliver. I'm not seeing that letter yet anyway. Hello?
Yeah, Clarence, morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Mo Ali, and thank you. I think the caller has already made my point. I thought it would have been genuine. Why I agree with most of the reasons you've stated for people resigning all the time from one political party to another.
Except that let somebody send me the letter.
I have sent it to you already. It would be good to look at the letter, read it, so the public can.
Is this letter really authentic? I wish I knew this guy. I would have called him, or I don't know what are the letter. Sometimes I can be careful with letters and stuff like this, so you don't read something. Somebody might not know that.
The letter is signed with his number, everything there.
Okay,
but when he was in the interview last night, he even displayed the letter.
But I see letter here
so
for
I
you
just send it to you. Be good, you do justice to the public.
But I see it. But send it. Try look at it.
So let me drop the line, then you will get it.
Okay, all right. So you want for me to read the letter, because the man said. The man want for me to read the letter because why in the letter the man said Joey I promise the post so that particular point more than say that all I think you told here are true, but that particular one want for you to read. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are you?
Mr. Minister, good morning, man.
This is Daniel Sando, and thank you for having me.
You want for me to read the letter to him, Minister?
No, it's not particular about the letter because I thought the point you made that every election cycle in our country there will be political crossover.
Yeah.
You have to be able to discern between the frustration that people who are currently resigning from the CDC are expressing, than those who just made a crossover because they want political accommodation. For example, what is happening in the Southeast is absolutely unprecedented in terms of development. Now, this young man said, for example, his county was a battle. Grand Jide as a county in Liberia has given CDC everything for its funding. What can Grand Jide point to as a political reward for that support that they have? They have rendered the CDC since 2005. They can point to anything. Now, fast forward to the current administration. It is President Boaka who has said, look, we have to maintain the rule in the Southeast. We have to ensure that we bring in yellow machines to maintain the rules all season round so that our people can move the goods and services across that region. It is President Boaka who leadership is moving in to restore pipeline water to major cities in the Southeast. It is President Boaka who is electrifying cities like Greenville, Barclayville. You just name it. All the things that are happening in the Southeast are happening under President Boaka. That Southeast was an abandoned story under President Weah.
Mr. Minister, the other side is even when former President Sally left power and there was the election in 2017, some of the people who left the Unity Party, they said a lot of things. Some of the things not even true. Some of the things were true. The point I'm making is people will always say, no matter the way they say it, people will always find reasons why they are leaving. It is left with whoever is doing the interpretation to say, read the reason why the man left. And of course, I see the letter, I will read it.
We as political observer, we have a duty when these people speak to look behind what they say. For example, if somebody has said to me that, look, I'm not supporting President Bouaka in 2017 because of the games that the incumbent president played. It's understandable because they were put under pressure. There were superintendents, there were ministers of government that were compelled, that were constrained not to support the vice president because President didn't want to win the election. I mean, that cannot be compared to the current scenario. These people are talking because they say, look, they see development entering a country. Something that never happened before. So, the move is just justified politically. Because it's the best interest of the country.
Who determines its justification? That the people or the political commentators? Good morning. This call from outside the country. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence Jackson.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is Joe Will from Monaco.
Okay.
Piso, it's kind of funny, by the time you talk about a letter, I see all the government officials calling for you to read letter, they send it fax machine.
Yeah, the men and women.
They send it transcript. Everybody can resign from, it's not the first time somebody leaving a party. So what extra about the letter? Okay, so Penn already said the same thing that I meant saying in the same letter as the minister, the deputy minister just said that the role is fixed now and now the people can see. Okay, we know all that one. That is not a reason for resigning. Everybody got a personal reason to leave a party. Everybody wants to go to where the glory is, where the sun shines, and where people won't hang their clothes. That man, where in Grand Nigeria there? What do you expect? You think that man would be saying what is running that out right now, the way the people trying to take over the people, their country, all the country. The man want a line, and it will be realignment. Aligning and realigning, I don't know why the man is taking it so serious, but so I just wanted to say something about the prison issue, right? The guy at the superintendent at the prison compound, I ain't really know what kind of sense that guy. My man, they kind of big, we talking about $500 million cocaine in the country. You go get a phone and telephone to call outside international call.
And why they investigating him for?
Yeah, because it makes no sense, my brother. But anyway, in Liberia, what you expect a man making 200,000? Somebody go tell me that me make one call, I will transfer 20,000 to your account. That man will say no.
Let's take another call already on the line. Hello.
Clarence Jackson, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Diana Alas Peter in PTS. I joined you for Hall Down this morning. Clarence, we have been discussing major drug issues on different platforms, including yours. All right, discussing drugs cartel that destroying our society. Today, when you go on the internet to browse on Liberia, the first thing you will see is cocaine. You can go and do that. Do your research. The training issue you can see on Liberia today.
You say, wow, so you Google Liberia like cocaine, you can see?
Of course.
How you tell that?
Clarence, I'm speaking. Let me let you know something, Clarence. Sometimes you make it feel like people just want to say negative things about the country, but it's not like that.
No, but you also making it look like oh, we can think. How you say, by the time you Google Liberia, the only thing you can see that cocaine. How you tell that?
Okay, let me remain on the line. Take your phone, go on Google, ask the training thing in Liberia. What are some of the training things in Liberia right now?
Now you see, now you transition. 1 minute, you're transitioning your thoughts now. You are transitioning now from their Liberia to training issue in Liberia. When you talk in a way that anybody listening will say, yeah, they get. But you say, as soon as you Google Liberia, that cocaine you will see. Now you're moving from Google Liberia now to you're moving from Liberia now to training issues in Liberia.
But if the training things issues are in Liberia right now, it's cocaine. So when you Google Liberia, I want to tell you about cocaine cartel.
So as soon as you pull Liberia, you just see cocaine.
Go browse it for yourself. That is the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make this morning is some of those important things when we are discussing it. People that more Ali, that were on train passing around saying that they want to rescue Liberia. They won't talk about it. But a mere resignation of partisan, you come here on a show telling somebody to read the communication as if it's so important.
No, that resignation is not mad. The person who resigned is a whole county chairperson of a party. So it's not mad.
Clarence Jackson, the sooner those people realize that they are in power, the better it will become for them.
Okay. I will Google Liberia. I'll come and Google Liberia. Jenna. Hello. Good morning. Who's there? They could be the second to the last. Hello.
Good morning, Piso. How are you?
I'm good.
My name is Stephen and I join you from Johnsonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Piso, my attention has been shown to the national court and the international court. The guy that gave phone to the federal in the central prison.
Mm-hmm.
Piso, even in our local prison, people got family people around us don't know what was phoning.
Mm-hmm.
So even if that man is giving that guy the phone, I mean, it is not something that is wrong, but I was setting in
You
like
say it is not something that is wrong? What do you mean?
Meaning that the guy is in Labrador doing a business and he has a family in Colombia. I think it's a Colombian. So you have to relate to the person, to the family people there. So if we have
Wait. At the prison facility, do you know drug is non bailable? Are you saying is suspect in jail for drugs supposed to have the right to just be calling?
Clarence, you have a family in Colombia.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thank you. Now, I Google Liberia. All I can see is Liberia is a country on the west coast, on the West African coast. It is bordered by Sierra Leone. They think we land way by in K to like yeah, Sierra Leone, Norway, Guinea, blah blah blah. Peter Lina, all I can find about Liberia. The point I was making is when you want to speaking of minor, that people who listening will appreciate what you say. Let's take the final call and join our guest. Hello.
Clarence, my name is Elston Legend. We said, and I'm following you from the USA. Look, firstly, let me commend you for checking the lady that called previously, and she said the first thing you Google search you will find for Liberia is cocaine. Look, I myself, I happen to be your ex reporter and journalist from Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
We do the needful thing and kind of put people on guard. You know, you're speaking to a larger audience. That's why I say mass communication. So you're not speaking to a. So we have to make things right when people provide information that are inaccurate. So I'm glad you did that. Look, let me retire here by letting you to know that this government deserves a lot of praise. A stronghold because they're stand up the hill from the southeast. But today the roads are a lot more pliable. It's no secret. So kudos to this government for CDC to be able to take a convention to Grand Gila the other day. And it was very smooth sailing to Grand Gila. So congratulations to this government and let it keep. The job of this government is to outdo that of CDC. And as long as they continue to outdo and outperform CDC, the tax 2029 will be a lot more easier. So congratulations and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Somebody, I'm not taking call again. I'm sorry, our guests are here. Somebody just sent me a message. They say the guy from Grand Gila was very strategic. The man waited for the convention to be all in Grand Gila. I don't know, that was not a convention. That was the anniversary. The man waited. You were chair. He let everything. He got it in, and then from then on, he said, "I think I'm go more. I will resign." That man resigned. Okay, our guests are here. So this morning we'll be talking about an issue, or maybe looking at one or two issues. Like I said, our friends from Daylight, and I'm told the head of an international institution is also here. So let's go around the table for introduction. We'll come back. Let's begin. No, let's just say lady before gentlemen. Let's start from that side. Yeah, pull the mic and make yourself comfortable. Let's hear you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Annika Hillers, and I'm the country director of the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation in Liberia.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Vani Kamara, and I'm the news editor at the Daylight Environmental newspaper.
Okay. Daylight investigation finds flaws, falsehoods in presidential letter. The link to this article and all these things. By the way, madam, how is your institution? The chimpanzee, how do you call it?
Wild Chimpanzee Foundation.
How is it?
Well, we are very busy. We're working very closely with the Forestry Development Authority, but also other institutions like the Ministry of Local Government and the Liberia Land Authority. And our role is to really support the government agenda, but also to make sure that communities are fully involved in implementing the government agenda and getting benefits from it.
That's correct. In how many counties are you?
We are mainly in 4 counties, in River G, Grand Gede, Sino, and River Ses, but we also have nationwide programs to cover both of the major forest blocks in the northwestern and the southeastern part of Liberia.
Okay, let's go. We'll come back to you. Vani, just let's hear from you a little bit. what is the daylight? What do you do at the daylight? What's your focus? Who are you?
So thank you, Clarence. The Daylight is an environmental newspaper, online newspaper, like I said from the beginning. We are into extractive reporting. That means we cover forestry, mining, logging, agriculture, and you name it. Everything about the extractive sector is what we're into. So we report. Our focus is actually reporting on environmental crimes, and not just that, but also community issues that have to do with community benefit, whether or not they are actually getting the needed benefit from the different concessions across this country. So those are the kinds of things we do.
Okay. And talk to us a little bit about, reporting on the environment or in the extractive sector. I'm not sure is just bread and butter. What are the challenges? Because I know you do a lot of investigation.
So our first big challenge is getting documentation in this country. As you know, most of the government websites don't have the necessary information that the public need to have about the sector. So most times we find our own way, use our own investigative skills, techniques to look for the required documents in order for our stories to be factual and evidence based. So I mean, it's a difficult thing. So really, really difficult task. Most times we travel uh, on very difficult roads, bad terrains, broken bridges. Sometimes we walk hours, 3, 4 hours in forest. Quite recently, we were in Bapolu. We went to some of the farthest areas. There's a town called Mbama. From there, you go to the lower end of Mbaloma and so forth. That we took like 7 hours on the motorbike, Clarence. So a lot of
7 hours.
7 hours. I think close to 8 hours. I think I'm even underestimating the time we spent on the motorbike. But it was a huge challenge. And when you travel like that as a journalist, sometimes you're not careful, you even miss what you actually want to look for because the fatigue, the tiredness, the risks involved. I mean, it's so huge. So a lot of people out there may not know about what we are doing, but we are in our own little corner trying to ensure that we report on the extractive sector to ensure that the government takes the necessary action in ensuring that it gets its needed revenue to develop this country. We also there to ensure that we do our independent work void of politics. A lot of people may not know, but I think we've done a lot. More than 300 investigations we've done since 2021. That's a lot. Some of them, the FDA have taken action. Some, their action still pending, and we still writing. Even up to now, we just commissioned several other investigations that we're doing, and pretty soon the public will get to feed us.
Dr. Hillards, your institution, I'm told, is supposed to be working with the FDA to establish what is supposed to be called the Quad National Park. Can you tell us about that effort so far? Where are we?
So first of all, to clarify, is the FDA that is fully in the lead of this activity, but we have been supporting them for the past 10 years to establish this protected area. And this is not something new. It's something that actually had been in the pipeline for long. And this area is fully inside a national forest, inside the Krambassa National Forest, which was declared in 1957 as government land. So there is a Protected Area Networks Act from 2003 that also outlines the area. And in 2006, the Liberian government committed to protect 30% of the remaining forests in Liberia. And since then, this has been in the pipeline. And there are different steps that need to be completed for a creation of protected area in Liberia. which is fully based on also consultation with local communities, because it's very important to make sure that the free, prior, and informed consent is followed and all the communities are aware, even though actually the communities should not be inside the national forest. But obviously during the war, many communities settled there. And so since 2018, we also have the Land Rights Act. So it's very important to make sure that there is full consultation, and also that there are feasibility studies actually outlining the importance in terms of the biodiversity, why it is important to protect a certain area, what are the areas that are really, really important, where you find more of the different animals that are very special, but also where are the areas where you can have other potential for Liberia, like in terms of carbon projects, in terms of high carbon value, and also ecotourism, which is a very important component for the current government. And so there have been feasibility studies from 2016 to 2019 where it was defined which part of the area inside the national forest actually is suitable. So it's like the national forest is almost 600,000 hectares, but within that area, in the end, is now an area of 172,000 hectares that should become a national park. And because of there are no settlements in this area, there are no agricultural activities, at least prior to 2023 there were no such activities, and it's an area that where the communities actually agreed that this area can be protected. So after the feasibility studies, which included the biodiversity studies, socioeconomic studies, demographic studies, a certain area was outlined, and the next step was to do a participatory land use mapping with the communities. Again, I just saying that we were supporting it, but it was led by the Liberian government. And so in this step, the communities are outlining which ones are their boundaries, where they are doing their farming activities, and so on. After that, the boundaries of the national park were harmonized with the communities, so the communities agreed to certain boundaries, and they signed consent forms explaining that they are fully aware, that they were part of the process, that they have been consulted, they agree to the changed boundaries, to the harmonized boundaries, because more areas were given to the communities. And also that they agree that they want to be part of the management of the park, and they will not do any other activities in there again. So they consented to these boundaries in 2023, but then at the same time the customary land formalization also should have taken place, but because of some funding issues and later on the USAID funded project, which was run by another institution, not by us, was cancelled. This customary land formalization was not completed, and then in 2023 with the change on government, the park actually was not declared. But now we are the activities have picked up again, and the customary land formalization process has been completed up to the step that is needed for the gazettement. And the communities around, they have established their rightful bodies for the customary land formalization and have signed MOUs with the Liberia Land Authority to reconfirm the previously harmonized and consented boundaries. And so there are a few more things that need to be done before the gazettement package can be presented to the president, and then from there to legislature. Like it must be a board meeting of the Forestry Development Authority. They will approve, hopefully they shall approve the gazettement package for onward passage to the president.
And that's why I was coming to ask, when will it be gazetted?
Well, we know that there is still one more national stakeholder consultation. The board meeting of the FDA actually is scheduled for next week. We don't know the full schedule when the submission would happen to the president. Maybe an important factor is also that there is actually some direct budget support to the Liberian government linked to the submission of this gazettement package to legislature. If this is not done until sometime in September, I think before September, then the Liberian government actually will incur a financial loss. And so there is some form of deadline given by the Ministry of Finance to the FDA, which is in August. But I think they are like kind of, there's a small flexibility about the deadline. We don't know the final deadline, but then it depends when legislature will be back in session, and we hope that the national park will become reality within the next couple of months.
Okay, Dr. Hillas, thank you. We'll come back to you. Vani, let's come down to this article, and you are the right man in the right seat, because I see that you wrote it, even though your institution published it, but you wrote it. That's why I see here. Investigation finds flaws and falsehoods in presidential letter. What kind of letter? What are we talking about? What did this investigation center around?
Okay, so before I go into the specifics of our investigation, I just wanted to make a brush over in terms of the background from whence we come. So the issue about the fight for land in Grangida and other southeastern area has become a real big discussion around now. So there are competing interests, right? I mean, generally, this is our own observation based on the reporting that we've done, right? So cocoa farmers are on the one hand trying to protect their interests, and then you have the Burkinabes who themselves are looking for a cocoa farm to engage in the business. So I just wanted to lay the background. So amidst this issue for the fight for land, now in June, the farmers in Bazon, Bazon is a huge district in Grangida, right? They wrote the president, and what are the things they say in that letter? I just wanted.
You want to put the mark to make sure so
yes,
our audience can benefit.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go over some of the things they say in the letter, including our own findings following our investigation. So in June they wrote, and they informed the president, His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, that the forestry authorities cut the proposed Kwa protected area boundaries without obtaining their consent. They did not sign any memorandum of understanding or agreement involving the boundary demarcation. They were never granted or guaranteed continual access to their cocoa farms. They were intimidated during the boundary process. Their crops and other properties were destroyed during the boundary demarcation. Forest rangers entered their communities without authorization. They were never involved in the actual boundary demarcation exercise, despite agreeing in principle to establish the park. The agreement, the government should move the park 10 kilometers away from where it is now. So, however, I mean, that's the summary of what they put in the letter.
In the letter.
Yeah, to the president. So, because we are an extractive group, and this is a huge debate across the country now, especially in the Southeast, we decided to investigate to really find out what was happening. So this is it. So, however, a daylight investigation found evidence contradicting several of the farmers' claims. One, manipulation of signatures. The appeal letter claimed to have 16 signatures. However, we found that it was 15 persons who actually signed. Are you there, Clarence?
Very well.
Okay. One farmer, and please, I don't want to call name because calling name can sometimes
you don't have
corner people. But one farmer, which we have evidence of, actually signed twice, and that covered up for the 16 places. You can understand the manipulation there. So, and then another farmer who we spoke to in Port Town said, I don't even know how my name got on the list. You got that? Now, previous consent to the park and its boundaries. And I listed these things one by one so that the public will clearly understand that we're not making up things. Several farmers who signed the appeal had already signed the 2023 consent document supporting the establishment of the Quad proposed protected area. That was one of our key findings. That even though they're arguing now, but they have already signed. So this contradicts the argument that we were not consented. You understand? Those consent documents explicitly acknowledge the harmonized park boundaries, not merely the creation of the park. That's part of our finding. Boundary agreement already existed. That's another thing we found. In 2024, a federal community signed a boundary harmonization agreement with the Forestry Development Authority and its partners confirming the park boundary. More than that, in 2026, clan authorities also signed agreements with the Labrador Land Authority reaffirming the same boundaries. Number 4, documentary evidence contradict farmers' statements. Signed consent documents state that community consultation had been held since 2020. Community representatives participated in the tracking and verifying of the boundaries. Grievances raised during the process have been resolved. And that's one key thing. Because if you go to the community people will say, oh, we didn't participate. In fact, all the issues we raised, they were not listened to or they were not addressed. But that's not the case. Our investigation found something else. No objection. In all of this, there was no objection. Authorities publicly advertised the proposed park between June and August 2023. The investigation found no official record showing that any of the farmers objected during this process. Geographic inconsistency, even with all the argument, Port Town, which is the farthest, I think 17 kilometers away from the park, or even more than something in between there. But they are the farthest away from the proposed park. That means actually they should not even be making this argument. That's what it means, right? How they got on the number of the petitioners, those who wrote the letter, we don't know.
Why did they decide to manipulate the letter in the manner they did?
Well, to be very blunt with you, most of the people who wrote the letter are cocoa farmers themselves. They have vested interest in cocoa farming, and now they feel threatened that
their farms could get affected.
Yes. So their livelihood, yes, they have livelihood argument, but the issue here is you agreed and you participated, you were involved. So why now? Why are you making all this noise?
How did Dr. Hitler's come in? I see a portion where she denies allegation of human rights abuses. We are 100% sure that these allegations are false and that neither FDA nor any other law enforcement entity ever violated human rights or did anything not in line with Liberian laws. How did she come in?
So Dr. Hitler will speak for herself, but ethically, as a journalist, when you are writing this kind of story and then something pops up from the community people,
you gotta reach out.
Yeah, you have to reach out to the one who is involved or who is accused, because they have been involved with the community. She just told you they are doing their work and we are doing our independent
Dr. Hitler,
work.
how did you come in?
Okay, my name is Dr. Hillers. So as I explained, we are supporting the Liberian government in implementing their government agenda, but we also are supporting the communities. We are kind of a liaison between communities and government. And of course, one thing I did not talk about yet is all the livelihood support and community benefits that are linked to the creation of the park. So there have been a lot of programs with the local communities in terms of job, employment, livelihood, like agriculture, beekeeping, education, wildlife clubs, infrastructure development, and so on. So we are always in the community. And obviously, for us, it is very, very important as an international organization to make sure that the correct process is followed, that all the laws are followed, and that there's nothing that is not in line with the law. And if you look at the documentation we have about the process, all the documents are there. And so we if there are allegations coming from another side that we are not aware of, obviously we are also wondering what is happening, and we are also sharing our own observations because we are in the communities all the time. And obviously, in that case, I mean, we can confirm that we are talking about individual cocoa farmers who have encroached into the proposed protected area after the boundaries had consented. And on top of that, we also know that there is a very serious situation linked to migrant cocoa farmers in the southeast, in particular in Grande County, where a recent assessment of LRRC has identified that there are more than 80,000 migrant cocoa farmers in Grande alone. And this is a concern because also the migrant cocoa farmers, they are actually illegally operating in Liberia. And if there are Liberians who are sending migrant cocoa farmers inside a proposed protected area, it is a legal matter. It is not in line with the Liberian laws. So we are supporting the government, but we are also supporting the communities to make sure that everything is done in the rightful way.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's good of you because you work with the different communities, and so you have to speak. Now, Vani, what does the article seek to do?
First, the article seeks to one make clarity on issues that are going on in the community regarding the community people. What is the authority doing? Is it the right thing? So we rather went in between as the independent people who are also in the sector to ensure that we report what is actually the truth. So number one, we want to ensure that the wrong things don't happen through our reporting. We want to ensure that the authorities take action if necessary. We want to ensure that there is calm, because our role is not just to report or to inform, but the community members themselves understand the issue, why certain things should be the way. We have written stories for them many times. When I say for them, not say they told us to do it, but I mean
About concerns.
Yeah, about their concerns. We've written a lot of stories about that, but equally so, we too cannot sit when they are going wrong, and we just sit idle. We too need to tell them that, look, this one on this side you are wrong.
So in other words, they were attempting, or they did what was not correct, but they wanted the public to believe that this is what was happening.
Yes. So they didn't need to lie to the president. In my mind, they should have told the president the truth. That, look, Mr. President, we want this to happen. And although we had agreed that this thing will happen, but now we're not satisfied because it affects our family activities, it affects our cocoa production and all of that. So is there a way you can intervene to find an equilibrium, at least a balance where we too will not be badly affected? In my mind, that would have been the right approach, other than putting lies and sending it to the president and making him to believe. Mind you, there's an investigation already ongoing from the presidency regarding this issue.
Really?
Yes, the investigation is ongoing, and we hope that whatever evidence we have already put forth to the public will inform those investigating this matter to ensure that they speedily bring it to an end.
I was just reading down the article, and I will not call name because you don't want it that way.
No.
I noticed that one of them even said we made some mistakes. We should not have done what we did, and those kinds of things.
So,
okay, yeah.
So we visited just before you cross over.
It's okay.
We visited several places. We visited Gaytown. We visited Tojala, Bablo, Port Town on the main road, the superintendent home. Because one of the reasons why we decided to go to Port Town is most of them who signed the document actually came from the town there. So we try to understand why they have to be part of that process when in fact investigation showed that they are already far away from the main park area. So we try to understand all those things, and then through our investigation, through our talking to them, and somebody said, hey, I didn't even know how money got there. I'm surprised. In fact, I'm not one of those persons who is really, really affected because my farm is far away from the actual park borders. So we did all of that just to be sure that whatever we put out there to the public will be the truth, but nothing else.
Okay, we have Dr. Anika Hillers. She's the country director of Wild Chimpanzee Foundation in Liberia, and Vani Kamara is the editor at the Daylight online newspaper. We are talking about issues concerning cocoa farmers and the letter they wrote and the involvement of the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation working with the Forestry Development Authority. Dr. Hiller, from the work you continue to do with the FDA, from all indications and the assessment, you think this park, when realized, what additional value will it add to that sector?
So there are a lot of opportunities linked to this park. First of all, for those who don't know, Liberia really is a very unique place when it comes to biodiversity and also the potential to gain sustainable income from projects like carbon projects, where industrial countries or companies can pay for conserving forests to mitigate climate change all over the world. And there are also other benefits, payment for ecosystem service, biodiversity credits. There are a lot of funding opportunities, and also we really see that there is a huge potential for the proposed Kwa National Park to become a very important area for research and ecotourism. As we speak, we already get funding from the European Union to construct an international research and training site, which also will benefit many Liberians at the park, yes, okay. Because we have identified this area as a very unique area when it comes to biodiversity. So there's a lot of interest in doing research in Liberia, but the reality is that there is no facility to actually do forest research close to the forest area. Also, we know that the academic institutions in Liberia, like the University of Liberia, the Forestry Training Institute, all other universities, of course, they are limited when it comes to resources and capacity. And so the idea is really to establish this site as a site that also can benefit all the universities, the Forestry Training Institute in Liberia, the young Liberians to get trained and also to work closely with the tourism sector, including the Liberia National Tourism Authority, to also make this a training site for tourist guides, for people who need to know more about Liberia's biodiversity and nature. And also, we already have established a relationship with an international institution called Tropical Biology Association, who are conducting regular training courses, international courses, where they're bringing African and international students together to learn more about biodiversity, to learn how to write proposals, and so on. So this is one of the benefits that will come. We also are linking it to the local communities. The idea is to have local communities being involved in running the place, catering, being tour guides, being research guides, and so on. And we know that this actually can work because we already have established an eco-lodge in the Sapo National Park, which is already bringing substantial benefits to the local communities. And this is just one example, but there are more activities that we are already doing with farmers, training them in sustainable farming activities. We have village saving and loan association groups. There are close to 200 beekeepers around the Kwa National Park. We have people who have been trained in other things like how to mitigate human-wildlife conflict so that they can protect their farms. There has been already some infrastructure development, constructing hand pumps, bringing solar lights to communities, helping youth centers. We provided a passenger boat to cross over the Sanquin River with a 15 horsepower engine. People were trained how to operate the boat, and so we have much more infrastructure also in the pipeline when it comes to road rehabilitation, bridge rehabilitation, more infrastructure in communities like hand pumps, palava huts, whatever the communities are basically requesting for, and also infrastructure for the FDA where there will be base camps, and all these things are also employment opportunities for communities. As we speak already, there are 40 community eco guards employed, there are 20 auxiliaries, there are biomonitors. So the yearly income for people around the proposed national park as we speak is already around 250,000 United States dollars that are coming to the
annual.
local that come into the local communities. But now with the additional agriculture activities, the beekeeping and so on, the estimate is that this can go up to 700,000 United States dollars if the park is operational and when there are more projects in the area.
It's in Bel Air District, correct? In Bapolu, the proposed Quad National.
No, it's in Granger.
We have it's located in Grangede, Sino, and Riverside counties.
Is that which one is supposed to be in the Bapolu County area?
Is the Gola Park.
The Gola
The
Forest
Gola
National Park is in Bapolu.
Okay, huge potential for Liberia, like Dr. Anika said, and we should seize these moments and run with them. Okay, let's hear from callers now. We're in the extractive industry. You heard her on pondering the kind of huge potential we will have in our sector should the Quad National Park it gets established. 0777 700-995-0555 and you heard also about the investigation Daylight newspaper did. They were trying to authenticate the letter they were sent to the president. It's like it was manipulated and those kinds of things. Let's hear you. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning.
Clarence, my name is Charles Robert, and I'm in Monrovia.
Yeah.
Clarence, those people in your studio are the people I do not agree with today. I will never agree with them tomorrow. It don't mean any good for Liberia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clarence, you move around, you fly around Ethiopia. While you're in the air, you see skyscrapers. You go to the country that where we're coming from. You go there, you see skyscrapers. Why they keep that forest? Also, why did they not keep that forest? There was no forest there, God ain't no forest there. They come here to us, you get a bunch of Nibuda crowd there and West Palm Beach National Park. They got a Kura National Park, we got Sapo National Park, they want Crown National Park, they got National Park in Foya. So, let me tell you, the place we come from, the place I come from. I grew up in Foya and Grand Basso County. We got made farm in hard bush. That's where we can find our food to eat. They put there, you say, don't kill elephant, don't kill chimpanzee. But the chimpanzee will come and attack the human being. They just say, don't kill it. But in the places they come from, they make movies. When one animal attack human being, they kill it. But here they say one animal attack one will be friend with it.
Charles, are you not here? Didn't you hear about her talking about not just establishment of a park, but the benefits and the sustainability? She said,
okay, go build one hotel in the Sea Crown National Park, build one 10-story hotel there. You'll make more than 250,000, 750. You'll make more than
no, the 250,000 she said is at the moment, even though it has not even started.
So at the moment, initially, I challenge you, take that place into one morning hotel. They will say be a tourist site. That only push can be tourist site.
Okay,
the hotel can, if Australia can also be tourist site. Then in the morning hotel and give it 1 year, you'll make more than 1 million income. So the benefit is more when you develop. Now people want they want the boats that Liberia have 30% of the world green forest. How much benefit does that get? How much benefit bring to Liberia? It comes with money infrastructure.
It comes with benefit, Charles, but
no benefit. I want you to tell me the benefit as compared to making it to the country that we come from.
Thank you, Charles. Let's take other calls. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning.
My name is Da Plato. I call because I have interest when it comes to the issue about forests, the matter of conservation, and the extractive sector. And I have interest in it because the meaningful role it play in the life of the locals as well as general biodiversity of Liberia. Let me disagree with your previous caller when he talked about no benefit. I think what is worth doing is the necessary government institution working with conservation group like the Wild Chimpanzee is to conduct a monitoring and assessment exercise to determine whatever Dan is saying in the studio there, commensurate with the reality on the ground. Rather than just blindly say there is no benefit, because for some of us who are working in this area or in these areas, we really do see the benefit. But to what extent is the issue that needs to be monitored and investigated? To what extent? Then the statements that have been made with regard to development in the pipeline, development in infrastructure and other structural development in local communities, empowerment and employment of locals. These are things that require a real-time investigation to determine. But to just outrightly, brush it out is not a good thing. But that's why I want to say, Clarence, you see the issue of conservation in Liberia, vis-a-vis the conflict with local communities, is the issue of land tenure. And that has to be the land authority needs to get on its feet and ensure that wherever a particular place is determined by international groups or even by the FDA for the purpose of conservation, biodiversity, animal life, there's need for a proper understanding because, parents, we will do the issue about the FPIC, free, prior, and informed consent. You will realize that sometimes there is already a penetration into the community. There is already a manipulation of certain key stakeholders to hear or accept certain things in the Puebla before the community can hear that this thing has already come. Certain groups have already been manipulated. That will undermine the real framework of the free, prior, and informed consent.
Thank you, Chief. You said a lot. Hello.
Clarence, good morning.
Good morning. Sometimes it's good to call direct instead of calling the WhatsApp because the other calls will kind of get into it, and sometimes hello.
Yeah, good morning, Clarence.
Good morning.
This is Johnson. I'm calling from Congo Town.
Yeah, Johnson.
Clarence, Charles Robert said, so our own country, when you in plane, you're just supposed to see forests. Everywhere in this country, the people create their waste in new and they send it into Africa, into Liberia. So it's also a keep forest. We're talking about farming. We're saying that we need to grow our own food. All our lives will be coming. Our people make farms in high forests. So we are not supposed to feed ourselves. We are up to look to them to bring in those effective foods and produce on the market. We buy, eat, and get fat and sick and die. We are not supposed to build our own skyscraper. Investors are not supposed to come and open real estate structure. We are not supposed to be part of that. We are supposed to keep our land or our own place for forests to look dark and ugly so that they can say Africa.
Hello? Well, you went off. Let's take another call. Hello?
Yeah, Clarence, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Musa Sharif is my name. Clarence, we don't like our brothers from the West or wherever they come from to keep playing fun out of us. The first caller made a very great point, and several points he made there. The people, they develop their homes, and then they set aside all the beauties in their home, and they come to use Africa to reserve carbon dioxide for them while they enjoy home. That's not an issue. But then my problem is, as long as you want to use African land, African forest to protect your benefit and the benefit of humanity, you may say so, to protect that indeed we get a carbon dioxide and exchange for oxygen, because you need the forest for that. We also need other areas, well-developed areas where other people come for touristic view, not just to go in forests to view animals. That is not fair for Africa. We love it. We all love conservationists at work, but we do not love the fact that our home is only kept for forest maintenance for the survival of the world. We also need those development here back home, not to put the money in few people's hands, and then those that own the forest don't benefit and they expect them to live. How are they living? The people in the interior, how would they live? So it's unfair to us. We don't want those kind of politics to come around us without physical development going in those very homes. Go and develop Zvedru.
Thank you, Musa. Let's talk to another person. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning.
Eric here.
Let's hear you, Eric.
When our partners, I don't want to call her white lady, that was very racist. When our partner was addressing the issue about infrastructure, I got sad. hearing about hand pump, Palawa Hut. For how long? How long will we only think about hand pumps and Palawa huts for our people? Why they can't even talk about building decent houses for those people, that are affected? Decent homes, electrify them, change their lives. Then you talk about 200,000, next time we'll go to 300,000. Look, we can do better, man.
Okay,
You gotta change the archaic way of treating our people. Palawa, hand form, what's that?
Okay, let me take FDA Deputy Managing Director Victor Besse. Hello.
Good morning, Clarence, and good morning to Anika and my brother in studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me say a very big thank you to Dr. Anika this morning, and to my brother, and to our community people who are working with us for the excitement of those foreign areas we're talking about. Fellow Liberians, I know we will express our anger on development issue, especially on our forests, like how some of us are talking this morning. But Clarence, there is one thing I kept telling the community people, and even those that are working with us. This thing we're talking about conservation. The definition is just to say, keep some. The size of our forests in Liberia, if we were to say, let's just keep 30% for the generation to come. I have said one time to them, forget about who is the managing director today. Forget about who is the partner today. All of us will come and go, Harrison, Conway, the rest of the people who've been there before, up to Sima Dwyer and today Mirab, all of them will be there, all of us will be around and we'll say go. But what is preserved is for the community that is around it. Not only that, what Liberians are being yearning for is tourist site. Will we just moving for animals and this and that? No. Today, the president has established tourism authority. And for the tourism authority to work well, the first thing is to get a site. And to get a site, you must locate a place. And those are things that FDA is working with the partners to see that we do it better. I know the comparison we're making with Europe and other places. Yes, we will make a comparison based on our eagerness to reach somewhere. But fellow Liberians, let's see it as a way of starting too, because we are now a tourism authority in Liberia to focus on what we will do for Liberia to benefit from the forest and this surrounding. So let's take it that we are starting with our partners to see how we can elevate our development agenda through tourism and other means. So we are sorry, let's take it easy so that we cannot, trigger the angers of the people from the forest area to bring another way out. What benefit will we have is conflict is around there and Burkina Bees are infiltrating and cutting it down massively. Then the partners are all protecting it for the use of us and our generation to come. So I want to encourage Dr. Anika this morning and tell her thank you for her work and other partners in the forestry sector and even our staff in our jungle that are struggling to preserve the area and the very community we're talking about.
Okay,
we are calling on the leadership of Grand Jide and us how we started with the discussion. Let's continue it so that we'll have that piece of land reserved. Thank you very much.
Okay, Besse, let's take a final call so we can give Dr. Anika and Vanning sufficient time.
Clarence, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, finally.
Yeah, this is Brown Tati from Monrovia.
Mm-hmm.
I've been following you and they are discussing, and I think it's important for us to continue to discuss. Sometimes when people come from the West and say some of these things, we will look at their area, very beautiful skyscraper, overhead bridges, and then maybe instead of we get our own here, they say we must reserve affordable. Sometimes we ask why it happened in France. I mean, you see whole city burning in Canada, other area. Those are the effects. So maybe they are speaking from experience. But the way we see ourselves, in the high forest, we want to have ourselves building and other things, and to enjoy ourselves with good pay road, then we hungry. It's like somebody eating chicken and say, my man, to eat chicken is not good. It can give people cholesterol. And you say you want to eat a chicken too. Then you get angry with the person. So we got to be mindful. We got to study hard before we take the decision. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to Dr. Anika and Van and Doc. Maybe you want to start.
Yeah, thank you so much to all the callers for the comments. It was very interesting. Obviously, it is also yeah, it's interesting to hear when someone is trying to judge a person and is saying the people in the studio don't want anything good for Liberia. Well, I'm sorry, but I have been working in Liberia for the past 16 years, and I have dedicated my life. It's my passion to actually see how I can bring more development to Liberia. And I think we all have our own way of working, and we have our own sector. So I'm in the conservation sector. This is what I know. And I know about national park, I know about biodiversity, and I know about community development. But nevertheless, when we are coming to the remote areas and people are asking for drinking water and they don't have clean drinking water because the government doesn't have enough funding to bring them drinking water, is a crime to bring hand pump there. You want to deprive the people in the communities from having clean drinking water. So drinking water is less important than other things, other infrastructure. It's we are a conservation organization, yes, and we are bringing development to the local communities because we are going the extra mile, and we are struggling ourselves to get funding to develop infrastructure in the communities because we are being told by the donors, oh, you're not infrastructure or WASH NGO. But still, we are doing it because we are going to places where no other NGO is going, where there is no development. And so I have not said in any instance that Liberia should not be developed. We are working towards developing Liberia. We are supporting Liberia. We are supporting the Liberian government. So if anybody is saying that we are here not to do good for Liberia, you are saying that your government doesn't want to do good for Liberia because we are supporting the government agenda. It's not that we are bringing our own agenda to Liberia. Everything we are doing is to support the various government institutions to support Liberian people. Now, the issue here is that development must happen, and also we are fully in agreement that different things in Liberia must happen. Mining, logging, farming, all these things must happen, but it must happen in the right place. There must be planning because you want to have a situation where you have a win-win situation. So there was an assessment for tourism, for example, for Liberia, which clearly is outlining that the reason why tourists want to come to Liberia, the majority are coming for the nature and the wildlife, is not to see cities in Liberia. They are coming to see Liberia's nature. So why are you not then looking at where can we get tourists and where can we do other form of infrastructure development? So when you look at Liberia's history, you have a history of mining, you have a history of logging. Where is the development? Where is the development from these sectors? Instead of trashing conservation, which is only working in very few areas in Liberia and is not taking anything from the people. Really, we are talking about a minute portion of your country. Why are you not also questioning where is the development from the other sectors? Because those sectors where you have investors who are indeed taking billions of dollars from Liberia, they are exporting the wood, they are exporting your minerals. Where is the development coming from these sectors? And they have done it for decades. And so I think the idea here is that we all want the best for Liberia. And personally, I'm not going to take it lightly if someone is telling me that I don't love Liberia, because I do love Liberia. I have been here for long, and I'm doing it because I want to do better for Liberia. It doesn't matter where I'm coming from. I don't have any interest, any economic interest for myself. I'm living here, and I'm a person who wants to do well for anybody in Liberia. And I think it's also interesting to hear that there was not a single woman across among the callers, because also if you look at the development we are doing for the women, how we are empowering women in Liberia is something that is really powerful. And so I think every Liberian should ask him or herself, what am I doing for Liberia? When I'm talking about development, when I'm trashing international NGOs and I'm telling them that they are just here to do bad for Liberia, am I really right? Do I have the correct information? Am I properly informed? Because the reality is that a lot is happening. The NGOs are doing a lot for Liberia, And I don't think there is any NGO in Liberia operating here that doesn't want the best for the country and that is not supporting the government and all the Liberian people.
Okay, Vani, let's hear you.
So let me say thank you to Charles and Musa and the other callers. But I want to just make few clarities to them. I think it's a problem of understanding what is really going on. So no one is actually against our people making farm and what have their cocoa garden and so forth to sustain themselves. What is happening is that there's a big argument between conservation versus commercial activity in our forest communities, right? The opinion is split. One people want commercial activity to continue, while others say let's go to conservation because in that way we will preserve our forests, we will preserve our land, and then other things will be saved. Our generation will have something to cherish in the future, right? What we found out as investigative institution over the years is that companies go to communities, they make agreements, they cut laws, they abandon thousands of laws worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, are scattered all across this country. Is that development? We say no. That's not development. People go to communities, companies go to communities and say, we will build you hand pump, we will build you schools, we will build you bridges. At the end of the day, they extract logs. They don't even have the capacity to take those logs to where they're supposed to carry them. They abandon them, and those logs become wasted resources that the government should have earned millions of dollars. I can tell you right now there's a problem in Tongli. In Bapul, there's a problem in Nomo. We have logs wasting all across, not even far from Kumbo. You just go right in the forest in the line and there you see hundreds of logs are parked there. One company came and caught it, and in less than 6 months they left the area and just abandoned the logs. Is that development? No, that's not development. That's waste of resources. So what the other NGOs and other people are saying, I tend to side with them because if we sustainably manage the forest, right? Why trying to provide livelihood issues like ecotourism, like the people in East Nema Nature Reserve now, they've embarked on ecotourism. That's a form of raising funds for the community. So those are things that I know we support in the extractive sector. But to say that this person don't want for our resources to be extracted, they don't want for development, it's a wrong concept. I think it's a misunderstanding, and our brothers need to really understand that this country is being depleted, is being looted, and the extractive sector is somewhere the government needs to really focus because a lot more is happening. Billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars are being wasted through fake companies, all kinds of fake deeds. People are going all around messing up this country, bringing false documents, and the anti-corruption people, we want to call on the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and all other anti-corruption group in this country to wake up from their slumber because they are sleeping. A lot more. Too many looting activities are ongoing on in the extractive sector, and the daylight is trying, but we cannot do all. So visit our page, the Daylight.org, www.daylight.org. You see most of our stories we do. I don't think anyone has done an extractive story equal to what we've done in this country over the last 3 or 4 years. More than 300 investigations. You go there, you will see them. Yes, the government has tried to some extent to take some action, but a lot more need to be done.
Okay, Vani, thank you. Dr. Hiller, anything finally?
I just want to encourage all Liberians to continue to support Liberia and Liberia's development, which goes along with conservation, because without forest, no life. I think my colleague, he made a good point. Actually, we do have some bad experiences from all over the world where forest is gone, is dry. You don't have space to grow your food. You don't have fertile soils. You don't have rains. And so Liberia still has all these things and still can make sure that Liberia's natural resources can be sustainable. No one is saying that development is not important, but everything can go together and everything can be in the right place. So I hope my colleagues, because I'm just one person in the Wild Chimpanzee Foundation, I have my big Liberian team. We have hundreds of community members working with us. We have so many women working with us. Don't feel discouraged if someone is saying comments that you don't want well for Liberia, because I know that you all love Liberia and you are doing the best for your people. And I want to say the same to the FDA, Ministry of Local Government, LLA, EPA, everybody who's trying to do the best for Liberia. Please continue the good work, because we are all in it together and we all love Liberia and Liberians. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vani. Thank you. Finally, Vani, just...
Yes, again, Clarence, I just want to say a very big thank you for the great work you are doing. Informing the Liberian people. We will continue to write all the stories, but the biggest challenge falls on the lap of the government. The government needs to wake up. Too many revenue or resources are really going under the carpet in the extractive sector. The government must wake up. Billions of dollars. Right now, as we speak, we already commissioned series of investigations that we're doing into the extractive sector, where people are just smuggling logs out of this country without even the government getting any benefit.
Okay.
So that's the kind of country we're in, and a lot more needs to be done. Thank you again, and I'm happy to be in your Kuzi studios.
Thank you, Vani, and thank you, Dr. Anika. Let's keep talking about conservation and the other issues. We have the rainfall forecast bulletin for the next 3 days. It's from the Ministry of Transport Division of Methodology, and we will read it out. It is the forecast August 4, which is today. There will be light rainfall over northwestern parts of Liberia that will affect parts of Lofak, Bapolu, extreme east of Magibi, and west of Grand Bassa counties. And then tomorrow there will be light rainfall also is expected over southwestern, northwestern, and central Liberia, affecting parts of Lofa, Grand, Kitmount, Bapolu, Bomi, Bom, Magibi, and Grand Bassa counties. And then on the 6th there will be light rainfall expected over northwestern and south, affecting parts of Lofa, Bapolu, Grand, Kitmount, Bonk, Nimba, and Bombing County. Now, the caution is there is a risk of flooding due to expected moderate to heavy rainfall. Strong winds may accompany the rains. Now, we'll try to keep working with the Ministry of Transport to do this for you probably on a daily basis, if all works well, so that as you leave your homes in the morning in the different counties, you will get to know what's coming up and what you can get from home with your hair gear, with your umbrella, and those kinds of things. We'll be right back. The Minister of Public Works is here.
Me P, producer.
Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, if all works well, I will have the national chairpersons of 2 political parties here as my guests. George Moluba from the National Patriotic Party and Chief Moses Colley from the Liberia People Democratic Party. We are still in discussion, but they could be my guests at 9 o'clock tomorrow. We'll come up shortly with the discussion. Minister of Public Works. We'll talk about the recent delegation of the Salaye Konya Road and the groundbreaking ceremony. What do we expect? What should we expect? What's next? We'll talk about roads, dry season care. What do we expect? Communities in Monrovia, do they have a list of, do they have plans to make intervention now in some of the communities? Okay, flag of Liberia. Every time the Minister of Public Works is here, I receive a batch of text messages from different community people. My honest appreciation, but my appeal is that sometimes I let you down because I'm not able to ask all the questions about the text messages you send me. I can imagine, and I can understand everybody wants their community to have good roads. Truth. Okay, the Minister Giddings is here. Minister, good morning. Happy post-Independence Day celebration. What's up?
Morning, Clarence. Thank you. Thank you. Happy post, I would say, independence to all Liberians who celebrated in grand style across the country, across the world, and also those who were in Buchanan. It was a wonderful celebration. And we hope that as we get older, the intent will mean that Liberia get better in terms of investment in both social services and our infrastructure that would see the improvement of the lives of our people, creating more jobs and making Liberia a place where, Liberians all around the world want to come back to, and even those who are foreigners in our borders who want to continue to stay here because of the prosperity. And I'm sure this is exactly what President Barker seeks to do, and we're here to support that.
Mm-hmm. Did you play football coming up? You have a football leg.
Yes, but not at a very, professional level. No, did not. Those days, of course, playing football was not something that the parents want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a little stubborn, so I played football. I played some basketball also, and but I have always continued to play, even after getting to university and getting a little older. Then I became what you call an old timer.
But when public were playing against you,
I did. I played. I always play. One of the
well,
games
the last time you
was
played
in
was
town.
almost like, I think 6 minutes, and you call for time on
I
yourself.
play 90 minutes. I go through the game where
You
I
get
start.
that energy?
I play every Saturday. I play at the SKD for single old timer. I've been playing for the last 20 years since 2007. I started playing for single old timer. I'm part of the Luna League. I've been scracking, always been a scracker. So I scored very good goals. And I think
Honestly,
the goals,
you have
the
a
goals
football
that was
legs.
scored in the Buchanan, if you were there to see it,
you scored goal in Buchanan?
You marvel over that. Yeah, I captained the team and I scored 2 goals and beat the Grand Basel.
Man, out of respect, man.
The
Grand Basel, all of us know that
the
team.
Grand Basel old timer led by Salinsa, James Salinsa Diva, the most celebrated star. Captain the team, I captained the government side, and we beat them. Good passes from, of course, the Minister of Finance.
That Gafan not Jesse, I
Don't
didn't want to
see
see
him like
They
that.
say he can play.
Yeah, he plays very well. Good control of the ball and good passes. In
Your
fact,
man
he was
Raul
giving
Wilson
me the
plays?
passes to play. Raul Wilson plays very well,
Poor.
but just that because of his body size. But
No,
he's
I won't talk
reducing.
about it, but I just
I would
ask him
say
why
that
he plays.
because he
The
used to
man
play
say he
with
dropped
us.
30
He used to
pounds.
play with us, single old timer. Raul Wilson plays very well. Raul Wilson can dribble you in ways that you would not even believe.
He didn't let to our
Yes.
discussion. Raul Wilson stay on football field.
He did. But thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to
How's
be here.
everything? How's the ministry?
Everything is okay. The ministry is okay. But I thought to just provide some clarity. I know there was a morning that you came down very hard on the Ministry of Public Works.
Very hard?
Yeah, I would say it that way.
Okay.
About the work that we do. And I think my director had to come in to provide some clarity. And your statement was that the ministry is templated. And so anybody get to public works can do what I'm doing or can succeed as that. And I wanted to say, no, it's not templated. The leadership you provide has to be very strategic. There has to be steadfastness. There has to be commitment. There has to be, skills that varies from leader to leaders. And I can say to you that the leadership that I have brought at the Ministry of Public Works is extraordinary. There are projects that have been at Public Works. I took over several projects that are almost dead, and I would say resurrected. One project is the project from Ganta to Saclipie. That project, we met it. The contractor has stopped working for almost 6 months. The government was owing $4 million. It was not going anywhere. I resurrected that project and got it to start, and I had to work with the partners, the World Bank, of course, about that. We even got now that the World Bank is financing the last leg of the project, and the Ministry of Finance to get the contractor started, to talk to the contractors, to give them the confidence required to get back on the corridor because they felt like the government has abandoned them They were putting claims in that the government has not paid them, their employees were idle, the equipment were idle, and so the government needed to pay. We had to negotiate with them and get them back. Today, you can drive from Ganta all the way to Saclapia now on paved road. There's no that in 2 years we resurrected it. I can tell you, it has to be an extraordinary leadership. The second project is also the Banga Salary project that we just dedicated. That project got stopped for almost a year. We met it. In fact, there was donor fatigue. The government, the contractor was owed $11 million. The money was available. It's not that there was no money, but it just was the leadership and putting the pieces together in terms of government obligation, especially during the RAP resettlement, which was a precondition for continuation of the next leg. The government, but then the last government did not do that. So there was donor fatigue. The donor withheld funding. Besides that, there was a loan that was given to the last government for the port of Greenville by the Kuwaitis. That loan, they bought some tugboat. The tugboats were bought. They were not used. In fact, the tugboats are sitting down now. They got damaged just within the 6 years. The loan was not paid. The Kuwaiti withheld their disbursement on that project. So it affected the Banga Salary project. When I got there, I had to reorganize the project, talk to the Kuwaitis. I spoke to the Minister of Finance. He agreed. We set up a delegation. We went to Kuwait. We met the Kuwaiti because the Kuwaitis were the godfather or are the godfathers of that project up to Vonjima. And so we met them. They said, well, we engaged the other partners. We engaged the Saudis. We engaged OPEC. We engaged Badia to come back on the table to work with you. And they committed that. And they saw our seriousness and our leadership, and they agreed. When we returned, they convened a meeting. We met in D.C., met the other partners, and they agreed to resume the project. That is how the project got resumed. And today, we've dedicated that project. We've already launched the next phase. By next dry season,
we'll talk.
Phase.
That's why.
I just wanted
that's why I call you.
I just wanted you to know that.
We'll talk more about that. But did you
listen?
Did you listen to that edition yourself?
Yeah, I listened. You said public works is the function of public works is templated. Use that word. It's templated. There's a template.
No, Minister, I disagree.
And that
before we go forward, I disagree.
And that anybody going at public work could do the same thing that way. I'm not saying it's not that I want to brag about what I'm doing, but I just want to just say that leadership is different. It varies. And when people provide leadership, whether in the public or private sector, it has to be seen that they're providing a leadership that getting things done.
Okay, Minister.
That's what we'll
move on.
So we can move on.
Yeah, but before we move on, let me come there and correct you on some issues. Templated, those were not my words. Secondly, that's why I'm asking whether you follow, because there was a center of the discussion for that day. The focus was to continue to beat on Pinsville Memorial City Corporation that the cities are dirty. There's not sufficient money because government has competing priorities. We must have a dedicated money to these two cities to be able to run to clean the cities. Then I made reference to the road fund. Then I said, you see the road fund, no matter who takes over our president in the country, there is something called the road fund. So there will always be monies to make interventions on some of the road because there is a road fund, meaning there is a dedicated amount. There is a dedicated fund. So my point was, even the Minister of Public Works, where Gidi heads, there is a road fund. So when the Minister of Public Works wants to make some intervention outside of partners and maybe central government, Minister of Finance, allocation, blah, 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 there's a road fund that makes it. So the center of that discussion was there is a dedicated fund called the road fund that will always intervene to face roads in the country.
Let me also
it was not about Minister of Public Works templated.
We'll go ahead, but let me also say this, Clarence. Even with a dedicated fund, you can still have a leadership that will not do what is required. And you saw that happening the last time. Let me say this. The last government, almost 29 million of the road fund was misused on other expenditures that were not supposed to be used instead of road investment. I'm just saying to you, leadership matters. The second thing is, even with the ability to source, right now I'm telling you, we're reforming the road fund. There's a new law for the road fund. I worked with the president and the vice president to propose that there will be a new law now for the road fund that will make the road fund even more efficient than what it is now. And I'm telling you, that will see road investment to improve. I'm just saying that leadership takes a lot, Clarence. Even you, yeah, you're doing a good job. Yeah, okay. You know how okay FM has been over the last 4 or 5 years at Monday radio stations. It's not ordinary. Don't think it's ordinary. You're doing a great job here. And I think it's the leadership that you bring for which OKFN continues to be what OKFN is. When you're talking about the competitive radio station, there's no way OKFN name will not be called. You think it's just happening by accident? No, it's because of the leadership provided. So it's leadership. Now let's go to roles. Let's talk about roles.
Let's move on. No,
Yeah,
I just hamper with the template kind of thing. You're
Okay,
talking
well,
about.
let's talk about
Let's move on.
Let's come
Yeah.
back
So what's going on? Now, I want us to begin. I mean, let's begin with that role, the recent delegation of that role. What is the kilometer? And I understand there was a groundbreaking ceremony again. So when would that other project start? But first, let's look at the role. The role is from Salaye to where, and how much did it cost us as a country to do that role?
So the flight glass is from Banga to Salaye.
Okay.
That road is 81 kilometer. It was designed as a single layer road. So it's one layer. And even when we went to Kuwait, I've pushed out to the Kuwaitis that we need to put the second layer because it's going to be a part of the Trans-West African Highway. It's going to be a regional corridor up to Minikoma. Of course, you're going to see a lot of trade across the border from Guinea and also from Sierra Leone. So it's 81 kilometer. Initially, that road was the contract value was anywhere around 42 million. But over time, with the extension, because the project almost for 10 years, we dedicated that project in 2017. You can remember, controversially.
You mean you broke ground for that?
We broke ground, yeah. Controversially, when President Weah was brought in to break ground, 2017. So you know, next year will make it 10 years since the project was executed. So that tells you that it's just 81 kilometer road. There were a lot of issues with that project, and I'm happy.
In keeping with the original intent issue, have been over by
3
now.
years. Yeah, 3 years. It was meant for 3 years. By 2021, latest, that project should have been completed. So that means we had a lot of problem with the project we had to fix. So now it's over. And thank God we dedicated the project, it's done. But the second layer will be a discussion that we have to put on it. The
second layer will take us where?
No, the second layer it's just to put another layer on it from Banga to Salaye again.
The existing one?
Yes,
Okay,
to cover it,
okay.
yeah, because it's just a single layer. Okay. And in terms of durability, especially the kind of axle load that will be on that corridor, we don't think it's something that we want to continue with. But the next phase, which is from Salaye to Konya, and from Zozo to Yela to the Guinea border, which is 56 kilometers, it's been designed as a double layer corridor, like any other major asphalt highway. Right now, what we are doing, we did a dedication because that project is looking to get started by dry season. If not the end of this year, first quarter next year, we start paving from Salaye to Konya, and then from Zozo to the Yela border, it's about 56 kilometers. We have the funding already. The Kuwaitis, Badia, and OPEC provided $72 million for the project, so money is not an issue. We of course, the Minister of Finance signed a few of the agreements that we're going to send now to the legislature for ratification. So we are doing now the procurement process. We're going to get the current consultant, which is South Consult, to continue to review the designs and finalize the bid document. So we're going to procurement process. So we're going to procurement process in the next 3-4 months. And then by first quarter next year, we could start paving that corridor up to Konya, and then from Zozo to Yela, which is 56 kilometers. Also, what happens, the delegation that came, which was the Saudi, the Kuwaitis, Badia, and OPEC, the Saudi did not participate in this lot. So in the lot from Salaye to Konya, they did not participate in terms of financing. So they've committed to participate in the second leg, which is from Salaye, from Konya up to Vonjima, 64 kilometers. One of the creative things that we also do in terms of strategic intervention is to break the 64 kilometers into two lots. So we're going to have 32. The Saudis have committed to fund the first 32 already. The balance 32, we are already talking to some of our major partners like the African Development Bank, the OPEC, and Abadia. And we're very hopeful that we're going to get the funding to complete that. So we're trying to see how we can get to Vonjima, hopefully, before 2029 or by 2029, or closer to
Hopefully
Vonjima.
before about that time.
Or closer to Vonjima if we don't get
Traffic
to.
from Monrovia
That's what we're
straight
trying to do. Yeah, because what we want to do is to do so when we start the 32, it'll be 2 lots. The bottom 64 from Konian to Vonjima is 64 kilometers. We're splitting it into 2. So what we want to do is to do the 2 lots together. So we have 2 companies working simultaneously to complete it in time. So if you're going to take a 1.5 year, the 2 companies will be completing the 64 kilometers in 1.5 year. The intent is President Boakai comes from Lofa. There'll be a lot of investment in roads. We believe Lofa, not just because he's from Lofa, but because Lofa is the bread basket of our country. If you go now, somebody said to me along the corridor, there used to see a lot of plenty fruits along the corridor, but with the road paved now, you can hardly see it because everything coming down to Monrovia, people are able to move their crops down to the capital and markets that can buy it for the kind of investment that they made in the farms. So we believe getting to Vonjima is something that we must be able to do. Don't forget, we also did groundbreaking for Minikoma Foya to Vonjima, the pavement arrangement, which have already started in terms of some clearings and preparation for pavement. So that pavement will be coming from the border, from Minikoma Foya back to Vonjima, while we are taking it from Konian towards Vonjima. It's going to be very aggressive. You're going to see work taking place. So that's the Clarence. That's where we are.
What role do we play, we as the Ministry of Public Works, through our technical people and the engineers, in terms of, take for example, somebody wins a bid, they're about to do a work. At some point, do we do real inspection to ensure that if you didn't do the work good, we say, no, you got to do the work? I'm asking because some of the roads, take for example, and I know you drive on our road all the time, a particular place in Bonkante, Siensu, when you get to Siensu, the way the road is looking, bouncing like that, who takes responsibility for that? Whose responsibility is it to ensure that the road is done in a manner that certifies public works?
No, so look, I will talk about it in 2 ways.
Yeah.
Because there's the projects that are funded by the government and the project that's funded by the partners.
Okay.
So the projects that are funded by the partners, we have international consulting firms that are hired as owners engineers. So they are hired on our behalf as the Ministry of Public Works. And then we second our engineers to work with them, with the international firm. They're required to provide quality assurance on the project. Besides that, these projects have a defect liability period. They have period after construction that if any defect take place, the contractor will have to come and correct it before turning the road over. So I know you're talking about the Wialas, maybe that Wiala you're talking about that with that dip and all that.
Cienso, particularly.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah. But that corridor from Real Light to Guinea border has already been turned over to the government of Liberia.
Okay.
One of the things that we could not do, and that's why when I took over as Minister of Public, with my experience and my understanding of the sector, I went to the World Bank and I said to them, and even the African Development Bank, that, look, do not force the government to provide counterpart funding, especially for works on project, because the government has a lot of competing priorities in other sectors. If you want to fund the road 100%. It's a loan. We pay. Over time, we're paying our loan. The Ministry of Finance is doing a good job in terms of making sure our debt sustainability is in place. So do not ask the government to also provide counterpart funding on that project, which was the Libram project from Real Light to Guinea border. The government was supposed to be responsible for maintaining the project over the defect period. And look, you won't believe, Clarence, that we had not since the project started 2012, since the project got completed. We have not been able to provide counterpart funding as a government. So right now we've accumulated up to 70 plus million in liabilities to the contractor.
On the counterpart funding?
Yes. And now that corridor is prepared for the next layer. There's supposed to be after 6 or 5 years or so of the project, 10 years, let me say it that way, 10 years, because for 2016 the project turned over. We're supposed to overlay the entire corridor with another layer. But because we have not paid our part of the counterpart funding, we can't do it now. So if you ride on that corridor now, you'll see there are some bumps. The road is prepared, it's ready for that. And the contractors are here, Chico and Seco together, supposed to do that. We're working with the Ministry of Finance to find a way to resolve that. We cannot pay 70 million right now, so we're trying to get into concession where we could have, for example, like a toll on the corridor, and they will recover the money and maintain the corridor because it's ready for maintenance. So that is one of the problems. It's not that there's no engineers to do so. The second thing is, on all the projects that we fund, We also have our engineers that are on the project to supervise it. Besides that, if they are not supervised properly, the road fund by itself also does some kind of inspection before they make payment to the contractor. So the road fund will take a checklist and take the scope of work and go there and make sure if you're supposed to lay the number of covers here, it should have been done. If the weighing well was supposed to be done, if you're supposed to drain the system, they do the check to make sure it was done before you're paid. Besides that, most of the project are 1 year defect liability. So within 1 year, if you complete the project, you turn it over to us, and there are defects, you go back there. For example, you see some of the intervention we did, pop holes around the cities. If you go now, you could see some little development here and there. The contractors waiting for dry season to come back and redo it, because that means these defects have started to show. Because in any construction, there will be some defects, but how you deal with it to make sure the quality is maintained, that is what we do. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but it's a system that works to make sure the quality assurance is a part of the product that comes out of it.
One other concern that I have, I think we spoke about this the last time you came here, but sometimes maybe there are changes over time, so I bring these things up so you can understand. I've always thought about Liberian companies and contractors and Liberian engineers. We've got some very qualified ones too in the country. I don't know how it works because I'm not an engineer. Minister, is it not possible, for example, let me do it this way. How do we incorporate Liberian-owned companies and Liberian engineers outside of the government, maybe in their private capacity or what have you, joining effort with some of the big international companies that win these bays to take, for example, the road from the road to go to the border, Yela, and the other corridor. How do we get some Liberian company working with these people, maybe subcontracting or inclusion, so that Liberian companies too can get some money in the pocket? I hope I'm not asking out of ignorance.
No, you asked a very good question.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud, as the Minister of Public Works, to say that we make significant progress doing that. In fact, right now, Liberian companies will tell you that they are having fun. When I say having fun, is that they are being prioritized. We even have a regulation. We have several regulations that we sent to the president. We did it to cabinet endorsement, and they've endorsed that. That going forward, the maintenance of gravel roads, whether it's installation of cover, whether it's drainage system, whether it's rehabilitation of the riding surface, resurfacing of those corridors, will be exclusively done by Liberian companies.
Okay.
The next thing is the pavement of concrete roads. Now that regulation will still come, but once it's up and gazetted, which the Ministry of Justice reviewing that, will be exclusively done by Liberian companies. We're also saying that a Liberian company can partner with an international firm. Once the Liberian has above 50% share in that company, you can work with an international firm, but we want a Liberian to have partnership in that, and that is happening. So we've given the space to Liberian companies. The second thing we've done, there was a law passed by the legislature, pushed forward by the ALCC, the Liberian Construction Contractors Association. That law was passed, and even we're looking at the procurement that I talk about, preference for Liberian companies. So right now, on the big projects, we are insisting that 25% to 30% of the work is given to a Liberian company. So all the big contracts we're signing, we have to see subcontractors that have been hired, exclusively Liberian companies. Yes, to work. And I'm saying to you, Clarence, this is going to change the game. And for me personally, I believe the road sector, this country can be built by foreigners alone. We believe Liberian companies should. One of the things we're trying to do, all the different maintenance work, patching of roads, patching asphalt roads, concrete roads, major gravel work, all Liberian companies. We have a lot of Liberian companies working now. In fact, we're going to have community roads that will be done now on the C-Grade project, like we say, a community gravel road, infrastructure road project. That's happening, it will be happening. We've also reactivated the community infrastructure development project, CRDP, financed by the Japanese, proceed from RICE, that we had previously, but Public Works will push out of that project because the last government used 400,000 of the money that was in the account that I left when I was deputy minister, 900,000 in that account, on the Do Community Road. And the Japanese felt the Do Community Road was not part of the project scope. So the Japanese suspended Public Works from that project and insisted that they called the Community Infrastructure Development Project, CRDP, under the Japanese grant. There's a Japanese grant. There's the rice sale, and then the money is used for
for a particular project.
Yes. So now Public Works will be readmitted into the project because of, again, because of the leadership that we brought to that, and made the Japanese to understand that we mean well for the project. So there'll be Liberians are in it. I want you to get Liberian contractors. I can send you the list of them. Call them and ask them. Sit down with them and have a conversation with them. They are pleased with our leadership at Popular Way. They are pleased with what we're doing. Liberians are in this, and we want to make sure Liberians benefit from it. So this is why we're trying to do this by all means, because the turnover that I requested for the big project, sometimes they say you must make 40 million, 50 million every year. No Liberian company got that kind of turnover. So we say, look, as much as this money coming from international organizations, especially the loan, we are paying it back. This is our money. So Liberian companies must benefit. And so that is why 25 to 30% of the work will be
done by
exclusively
Liberians.
given to Liberian companies, and we will enforce that.
I know we are in a rainy season now, but we need to have a picture of the progress, or whether we'll move on with some of the roads. What can you tell us about the Robertsport Road?
So the Robertsport Road, right now it's raining, so
Yeah.
because SSF was doing pavement, the first 12.5 kilometer, because the balance 30 kilometers under the pavement arrangement. So they have started paving already.
So that road is on two different arrangements.
Yes. The last government contracted 12.5 to SSF. And so SSF is doing the pavement of the corridor. So they've started doing it, and then the rain, set in. Now it's raining, they can't do any pavement. So once the dry season comes, you will see aggressive works on that road to complete the 12.5 kilometers. And then there is conversation. Pevifor is there. They got the balance 30. There's a company there already. SSF is, though headed by Lebanese, but I think it's a Liberian company. He's been here forever working with Liberians. He hired a lot of Liberians, so I can consider him as a Liberian company. So to see how they can hold some kind of conversation, because if he's right in the corridor already doing the work, it makes some sense to see whether he could be somebody that you could talk to work with. But they also supplying him with rock, with crushed rock in that corridor because of the arrangement there. So that project will get started once the dry season comes, because we're already doing pavement. We can do pavement now in the rains.
I know. We'll talk about and during the dry season, we engage you a lot to give us an appreciation or a picture of the ministry's intervention, government's intervention in most of these counties and the different roads. I know somebody now sent me information about, as a minister, about the FDA Johnson Road and blah, blah, blah. Minister, do you have plans during the rain season to make major interventions in roads in the different communities outside Monrovia, in the Pinsville, Bell, and in these other, Johnsonville, the different communities, and even maybe in Monrovia, but the different communities?
So one of the things that, at least now, we all can agree that the country is accessible. So even while it's raining now, you can go to the southeast, you can go to Grand Judea. I know my brother then went there the other day to celebrate the anniversary in Grand Judea. Zwedru, it was a fun with them being in Grand Judea. Because I sure since they were here, they could not even cross counter to go anywhere further to celebrate.
They will still have gone there. Maybe it might not have taken 1 or 2 days, but they will still go.
They
would
could
have
not
gone
go
there.
there. It was not possible. They could not go there to go celebrate. All the cars were going to spoil in the mud. But at least they can do that now. You can go up to Greenville. You can go up to Vanjuma, up to Minicoma. You can go up to Grand Crew, up to Maryland. So in terms of accessibility, the country is accessible now. That one we can say that. Now in Monrovia, we started something we call the Seagrid project, like I said. But they were first to do cover installation, to do the drainage system first. And we started doing some F work, but then the rain came. Now during the rains, it's difficult to do F work. Monrovia is very large. The population here is very large. New communities are springing out. So we also have a second phase of of that project, which is the Seagrid project. We also have, like I said to you, the CRDP project that's coming up. But the permanent solution is to begin pavement. So you see now we are paving a lot of some of the communities. If you look in there, you see that we're doing the View Road. We are doing there's another road in Broadway there that we are doing. A slip out of Maya that we are doing. We are doing several other communities road, the Intingaville, the Peloton Road. We are doing the Rock Crusher Road. So we're doing some communities road. We're finalizing that in just a rigid pavement. Some we're doing asphalt. You will see very soon the Oro community, all the alleys that will open up, we're going to start paving them. And that's why I said what we ask to be done with the road fund, the road fund is going to give us more latitude to do more roads. And my thing is, the capital city has to look like a capital city. So all the communities you see with very terrible roads, we may not be able to pave them, but we want to get in there, open it up, make it pliable, which we're going to be doing during the dry season. You see in some of the communities doing that. It's going to be an aggressive thing going forward. But once the road fund get to where I think it should be, because the road fund has the capacity to generate a lot of money if we get it transparent and autonomous. Now we're asking for the autonomy of the road fund, which the law is already at the legislature, to make sure it's a stand alone, be able to audit itself, be able to get the GSC to audit it, bring international firm to do so, and report by itself, but stand alone and not micromanage in any way. That will happen. If that happens, it's going to create the space that's required for investment. So, Clarence, I can say to you, dry season, you see a lot of work. Besides that, we are not just doing it in the capital city, Monrovia. All the counties will be impacted in the next few months. We're paving the streets in Bobolu. Bobolu city streets will start to be paved. Once we get into the dry season, we start to pave it.
Bobolu?
Yes. We're going to be paving streets in Banga. Banga will see additional pavement, some of the streets that are not paved. In Kakata, we are doing that already. We'll continue to do so. In Ganta, there will be some streets that are not paved that will start to pave. In Sanikwele, there will be some be done there. Also in Grand Gile, we are paving about 1.2, 1.3 kilometers of city streets that are not paved. In River G, we'll be paving city streets that are not paved. In Greenville, we'll be doing the same. In Riverside, we'll be doing the same. In Maryland,
this dry season,
we'll be doing the same. In Barclayville got no paved street at all. Let me say that. I know there was one small chip seal done, but it's not going to last. We're going to be doing rigid pavement in those in those counties. So out of the 15 counties, 13 will be doing pavement. The reason why I won't do much in Todmorden and Robertsport, because under the PEVI4 arrangement in the concession, there's $7 million in there to pave city streets in those two counties because they are affected by the project. That's why you didn't hear me call their names.
Okay.
And all those roads, Clarence, will be done by Liberian companies. This is what I'm saying to you.
Liberian companies.
All the roads that we're naming, all Liberian companies, 100% Liberian companies.
Now, Minister, the last time
that.
I had the Red Cross people here, and we're talking about disaster, talking about fire, but primarily we're talking about flooding. Do we have to wait until people come to the Ministry of Public Works with complain about people constructing in the alleys? Are there plans to work with a different community, probably first provide sensitization or awareness, and then later on Ministry of Public Works can move in the different communities to ensure alleys are open, for people, for roads to be accessible?
We started doing that already. We started opening up alleys. Like I said, we're paving some roads on the Oro by... In the next few months, you see us paving some of the arteries from the boulevard straight into the Oro, rigid pavement, like you saw on the side of, is that around the Nigerian House Junction, that enter into the Oro, that whole community back there, the Tupitila community, you call it that
Nigeria
way.
House, okay.
You see how that place paved all back there? We're going to continue with that, all the way to the Oro, to the market, to fish market. We're going to continue doing that. Dry season, we already done a lot of assessment and earmark demolitions. We've done awareness in the communities. There are people who are aware that properties, houses that were built in the area will be demolished during the dry season, because the thing is, we didn't want to do it while it's raining. I mean, you have to be a little compassionate with people. As much as they build in the wrong places, you don't want while it's raining, then you're not telling people to leave. So we've given them ultimatum, some of them 6 months, some since the beginning of this year. By dry season, by October, November, you will see massive opening of alleys everywhere in major communities alone. Our zoning team, inspector team set up, they're ready to do just that. We've already done all the survey, all the records are there, the communities have been identified. So we're just waiting for the dry season, because rainy season, you don't want to do that during the rains. You want to be a little compassionate. But the president has been very clear that we have to zone it. In fact, I was in Banga the other day. We done marking in Banga. We started with Banga City. So by dry season, we'll be using the yellow machines in Banga to open up Banga City. We come into Kakata, and then from there we go into the other cities. So it's not just Monrovia that we're doing it. We're going to open up the city. If you
Any compensation?
No. Okay. Let me say it that way. The government doesn't have money to pay people. If you do that, you're not going to do anything. Okay? And most of the people, Clarence, who build in these places, they were told not to. People said to them, look, this is the road. And they said, government ready will move. So when I go into the community, I say, we're ready now, so you got to move. Because that was what it was. I'll give you an example. When we're clearing the road for Freeport to Simple Bridge, I myself was on the field, somewhere closer to the bridge. I went to a place, and this guy, and they were doing the marking out there in the market, and he showed us another sign, another mark on his building. He said, but they just sent it out on the mark the player. They go every day, government card, they just marking, they not do anything, just wasting people time. So I said to him, my brother, you see something different. 2 weeks after, I went back there, and he had done the demolition. And luckily, I saw him and I said, how is it? He said, Minister, I didn't know that the government serious. The government very serious. I said, okay. So people have gotten to know that the government is not joking. And Clarence, you travel, go to other countries, right next door. Right, go Accra. Accra can be saying Accra. I passed through Accra 2004 to go to study when I was going to study. Accra was never looking like where it is now. 2004 now is about 22 years after. Yes, but we ourselves been out of war 22, 23 years ago, Clarence. And for me, I can always say, I'm not happy with what we have. I'm not with the country that we have, the city that we have. No, it's been 23 years. We have to do better. There has to be urgency to our development. We have to do that.
Somebody say, please ask the minister about the deferred period and condition for the EFWA junction to Red Light Road. There are several potholes that are worsening and the traffic lights are often off and on. How does the deferred period in the contract cover this? Then he says specifically also there's a place on the GSA road.
So we have a contractor already that will deal with that section he talks about. The GSA intersection, because I said that road has already been turned over to the government. The deferred period is over. In fact, we have not been able to live up to the contract reached in terms of the counterpart funding for maintenance on that corridor. So for EFWA junction all the way to Guinea border, that 6.7 kilometers, 6.1 kilometers is a part of that corridor that I spoke about earlier. For EFWA junction all the way to the Guinea border. So it's turned over to the government. We already have a contractor, MDNC, that have been doing some maintenance on that corridor. They were closing up some pop holes. If you go now on the Kakata Highway, there were several pop holes. They are not there anymore. We were able to close up, but then the rain caught up with us. So that section to GSA Junction will be done. Of course, in terms of the traffic light, it will be localized, and it's just an electrical issue working with LEC for them to be able to look at it. Because LEC, they want to help us to complete the electrification of that corridor. All the wires that was put in there, they stored it. So we had to retrench the wire. Zogo can cut all the wires on all the lights you see there, the street lights from EFWA Junction all the way to Radar. They just pull the wires out. Maybe the contractor, when I advised properly with the condition we had, that you couldn't do it like this. So now we had to get LEC to work with us to be able to fix it. I think they've started fixing some of that. We still have small issues. But in terms of the road, yes, that will be done. Now, any pop hole anywhere will definitely be taken care of during the dry season. Like you saw before the last rainy season, we're everywhere on Escalade Boulevard doing roads. Closing up pop holes on Duper Road. If you go Duper Road now, there are several pop holes on Zubatown Road. It's not there anymore. Okay, we started working, but then when the rain comes, we can continue to do asphalt. So after the rains, you will see us back on the roads.
Another person said, while the Ministry of Public Works decided to make the new Georgia Estate Road that is under construction very tight and small.
Well, people always say that they don't know the width of the road. The major road, the width of the road sometimes is 7.3 meters, and that's normal. That's normal width, or 7 meters. That is like going into a community. It can be more than that. It's a 7-meter road. It looks like small, but it's not small. All right, and we can again when we look at the issue of resettlement, because what is done, the road width could be smaller, yes, but what we call the right of way that we secure could also be a reason why we may not go further, because sometimes some people have already built in places that we can. And we try to be a little compassionate, not to go too much into breaking people's property down. So the road we have there, the 7 meter, is okay. It is to enter into a community. It's like a community road. It's not a major road. Even the Bambajida Highway that leads from Clay to Bowater side is not more than 7 meter in terms of width. So that road is okay, not small. It's the same with the VOA road. The people complain, the road too small. 2 trucks can pass and you still have space. But maybe people want space to park their car, and you can be parking your cars on community roads. You just drive and go into the community. So it's not small. It's the regular size that's required. I think it's about 7 meters. That is good enough.
Any information finally if we'll take a call about the Ralphie Road?
The Rafi project, yes, is now going to resume, but our Rafi project has been a sore to our government. I would say we inherited it with some complication, but we begin to fix it. We've fixed it. We've got the GSC to come in. The GSC have audited. There's some issue raised. We're working with the Ministry of Finance to finalize the new arrangement on the project with the banks that the loan was taken from. The contractors have resumed work. If you go there, you see some minor work taking place. We're doing the medium. We're continuing with drainage system. We're just waiting for the dry. The bridge have started. They started some minor work on the bridge construction because we got one bridge to build, the jog bridge. Once we get to the dry season, you will see a lot of work taking place on the corridor. In fact, the contractor has started from the 0 kilometer now to the 3 kilometer from the airport to where we did the actual pavement. They started doing some clearing on the side to begin doing work. So yes, the work has resumed, and we're working with the contractor to be able to complete that project because that project is an international corridor. It makes a lot of sense to get it completed. So the new completion date, actually in terms of full completion, is 2028. We're hoping
2028.
Yes, that we can hit
The
that
RRA
target.
road.
Yes, and complete it and put it behind us, and now continue with the other
Minister.
projects. Yes, sir.
Again, I said finally, but something has just come to my mind. Again, I'm not an engineer, but I'll bring it up probably. Maybe I don't know the implication. Every time I drive from ERW Junction to the airport, I'm thinking the portion of the road that divides the different sides of the road. Was it not possible that we plan good trees? Like you go to other countries, you see the road, the way they do the trees. It makes
maybe that God asked you to ask this question because I didn't talk about it. So we got in CTNN is a group that look at greening corridors. It's a climate resilient group that one of our environmentalists, let me call her name, Gian Baincore. She's we could normally call her Gigi. She's an environmentalist. She was able to get a proposal with my signature to that group, and they've agreed to fund greening that corridor. Okay. So we're going to green the RI corridor, but the project.
What do you mean by green?
Green means now there's this concept now you call green gray infrastructure. Okay. So the asphalt and the concrete is gray, and then the grass and the trees is green. So the combination of the green gray infrastructure is what people are doing now for resilience, for climate change, for flooding, flood mitigation, all of that. So we got that grant that we are.
Meaning we plant trees?
Yes,
because technical thing you're talking
trees,
there. I just wanted the little man.
Yeah, trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
plant
always
trees.
thought.
And that's why you see the way it's designed. You see all the holes in the middle?
Okay.
That's for the trees planting. And we also
it will
green.
be nice.
So it will be green. That corridor will be green. We already have the funding to do it. Egu, you asked the question because
yes, I always thought about that.
It will be
Minister.
green.
Thank you so much. Liberia's Public Works Minister Roland Lafayette Giddings is our guest this morning right here on OKFM 99.5. So there's another road in Bond County, Phoebe Junction, all the way up to Totota or Totota all the way to Phoebe Junction. I know you know that road. Passing through Sanoye.
We're doing the road.
Okay.
From Totota to Sanaye, from Sanaye to Bodota, from Bodota to...
you mean
Phoebe.
Bonota?
Bonota.
Yeah.
From Bonota to Phoebe.
Okay, that's good.
So right now we got two contractors working on it. One contractor is working on the corridor from Totota to Sanaye or to Bonota.
Okay.
And the other contractor from Bonota to Phoebe.
To Phoebe.
If you go drive the corridor now, I went there. A good portion of the corridor is done.
It's a major road.
Yes.
For food. Now let's get calls. Let's hear former presidential candidate, Councillor Luther Yofi. Councillor, let's hear you.
Yes, good morning and good morning to the Public Works Minister in the studio. Well, my attention is drawn to the community roads that have been built. And one of the caller or listener texted to mention the New Georgia SK Road. The space that was created by breaking down buildings are so wide and the road is so narrow. There is no bus stop. There is no parking lane. How can you build a community road without parking lane, without bus stop? So when people come into the community, they will have nowhere to park if they're going to visit relatives or whatsoever. How can the road be so narrow? And you yourself mentioned, Mr. Public Works Minister, that communities are blasting up every now and then. That is to say, population growth is on the increase. And then you build a community road so narrow. And in no time, the whole place will be congested.
traffic will be heavily tight and in the entire community, nowhere to park, nowhere for bus to stop. How can you build such a road?
Thank you. Question. Let's go. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Clarence.
Good morning.
I want to say good morning to the minister. I heard you asking the minister concerning the people that are building in a swamp or building in the alleyway. There's an area as far as you cross the Simpos Bridge, it's called the Petro One community.
Yeah.
If you come to that community right now, as I speak to you, there's a fellow that is dry in that area, and the place is creating serious environment for the other communities on the other side. The water, when the rain fall now, that place has become very flooded. People are taking serious problem. The people are dry in that place. They took the same from the
You say what? You say what the exact place?
after Simpos Bridge area to Petro One to Aqua Lab.
Okay. The road going to Aqua Lab. Good morning, yeah.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, the name remains Thomas S. Dosa calling from Johnson Pallet and District number 2, Mosawaro County.
Yeah, Thomas. Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, let me appreciate the minister. You're here doing very great job in the country, especially concerning about from the time he have been appointed to the particular position. Let me appreciate, but I have concern rest of my own area. He has lived cover rest to inside Palestine. The road are leading inside Palestine is actually the road connecting inside Palestine to Chigitu Factory. And the bridge that you was to build, they have been built. So I want you, the minister, to be able to think about all at least the road you'll be able to see about it at least.
Okay. Let me talk to another caller. Mr. Hodges, good morning. You are now live.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my son. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Mr. Hodges.
I'm so happy to be on this show and to hear the public works minister speaking this morning. I've been trying to get to him. I love it. I mean, Mr. Giddings and myself was in Maryland together, and I used to see him at the lady of Fatima High School going to school. You know, when I was a big guy, when I was a big man going to school at Bishop Ferguson.
So see the little boy, eh?
He just don't know me in person. He just don't know me in person, but I used to see him many days going to school and coming back. So I must congratulate him. You know, they say Marylanders always bring good things, but I heard that he's from Bond County too. So, but he is no problems about that.
Okay.
I want to really bring something to his attention. The Dupont Road, that intersection, I don't know how they really made it, but you have to go all the way from Dupont Road Junction all the way to red light before you can turn to come back. So if you have something to do on this other side of the road,
you can also turn around right to Police Academy Junction.
Yeah, but that is from police. That is from Dupont Road. You got to go all the way to Police Academy.
Okay. Your thing is the distance is too far.
It's too far.
Okay, Mr. Hodges, thank you. I can take two more. I might not be able to take everybody. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Clarence, and good morning to you, big brother, Roland Giddings. Thank you, Minister. You've been doing a very great work, and I must thank you for some of the things you've done so far. But I have a few observations. One,
you didn't call your name, sir.
My name is James Douglas Farrell.
Okay.
So the Ministry of Public Works officials, I see them move to different areas or different communities. But there are people building in the waterways and the alleys. We see them, and then we will wait after a long time, maybe when there's flooding, before actions are taken. And I think I'm asking the minister that there need to be proactiveness regarding that. Stop the people before the two, then coming back, that time you're taking to even go and destroy, no resources can be applied, to other works. That's
okay.
One. The second thing is that the highways, I see that currently the road from, EFW Junction to Rollingfield, to get there, we had to break a lot of houses. Now, I see the movement of people now from Central Monrovia towards the Banga end. And I can tell you, in a few years, the two-lane road we have going to Wakakata might be very narrow. So I'm asking, is there a plan to ensure that we preserve so that people do not build all the way near the quota before, when we think about expansion, then we have to start paying, resettlement action plan. So is there a plan for that?
Thank you. If there's a plan for that, Now we got 5 minutes. We got to leave it there. We're not taking any more calls. We'll take Robert Wilson because he's already on the line. But somebody sent me the question, very important. He says, CJ, reference to the minister's response to the wish of motorists to park for convenience on community roads for which they consider corridors being narrow. What can he say about the fact that they allow an entertainment center, New Liberia, at the Dupo Road Junction to operate from there and block traffic access? Robert Wilson, 30 seconds.
Good morning, Clarence. And let me say good morning to my hard-working minister. This is one young man I really appreciate. He's not an engineer, but the role he played in the road sector in this country, the man get the whole Liberia map in his head. Everywhere that paved, that not paved.
Yeah, but because the man were with the ministry before, why are you making it think big like this?
These are the kind of people in the position. Our in the Southeast, this is the first time in the history of Liberia. I told the entire Southeast for 6 days. I left from Piso to Barclay. They have spent 1 hour 30 minutes. I encountered a lot of people on that road who told me for the past 75 to 80 years, they have not been able to plow that road during the rainy season. And I told the Southeast, I must tell the minister thanks for the level of work he has done, and our Ghanaian president who told us during the campaign that during the, there will be no car stuck in the mud. Thank you so much also.
Thank you, Thank you. Thank you. Minister, let's come to you. I know we can manage in 4 minutes. I'm sorry, but there are a lot. Next time you come, let's see what I can put it 2 hours. Because I know every time you come, the interest is too much. Yeah,
we're planning something for 2 hours.
Yeah,
maybe
please.
for 8 to 10. We could do something like that.
Yeah.
So on the New Georgia Road, Thursday I'm doing a tour to see the corridor. I know my engineers are not wrong, but if there's need to make any adjustment to the engineering of that road, we'll look at the possibility, especially when it comes to laybacks. I think the road is designed with laybacks. So I got the concern from the.
You mean the New Georgia Road?
Yes, from the public. I'm doing a tour on Thursday. I will be on those corridors. Somebody asked a question about the Chickasaw Factory Road. The Chickasaw Factory Road will continue. We have not done the bridge yet, no, connected to Pettertown. We've already started. We did 1.5 kilometers already. The road will continue, and then we get to the bridge. So it's on course. Duper Road intersection reordering. There was a question about the, it's too long after Police Academy. You got to go all the way to Relay to turn because of the traffic. I think that concern was raised. The road was designed that way, but it was not considered that, a Relay would be so overly crowded to the turning point. So when you get in there to turn, it's difficult. I think we have been holding discussion as to how we could do some reordering to create an intersection somewhere between Police Academy and that turning point into the rail light. So yes, that's something that we look at. When you come for Dubai, you got to go all the way there, like the person said. Preserving the right of way. Preserving the right of way is something that we are doing. People are just stubborn. And I can tell you, for example, from rail light, Mount Barclay, Kirisburg, up to Kakata, that whole place we pay for. I came from Banga the other day and I stopped to Mount Barclay and I see people. We got a right of way markers. We're playing markers. The stone is there. You know what they did? They passed by the stone and come and build in front. So you see how stubborn people are. And I've said to my resettlement team, together with the inspectorate, we'll go there. We just break everything down. Once you in front of the marker, can you imagine? There's a heavy stone that we planted in that section. People built beyond it. They passed by the stone. They didn't break it down because they can't. And the building in front of it because they won't be closer to the road. So we have tried to preserve the right of way. But over time, of course, it took time for that to happen. And we are doing it now. So anybody who built in the right of way will have to move you. And we'll not pay you for building the right of way. Frankly, we'll not do that. The question of the wetland. I was just on the phone this morning with Dr. Yakpa from the EPA. We should be doing a meeting tomorrow, a section. I'm myself concerned about the wetland. I went to church and I passed through Ghana's because on Sunday I like to take a drive around some of the projects that we're doing to see, because the traffic will not be heavy, people may not be working. And right be closer to St. Moses, someone is drying that entire swamp, which is like a catchment. There'll be flooding. And I said to him, we have to sit down and begin to look at this drastically. The approach that we are taking, we have to work with him to take that approach. The wetland, securing wetland is the EPA responsibility, it's not public works. But if anybody dry and building in that area, then we should not give them permit. So I know that, and that's something that we're also looking at to make sure we can work with EPA. So we agree on forming a task force to be able to begin to address that. I got the concern from all the people that are raising it. I know what he's talking about. going from Simple Bridge here towards the overpass just about Virginia there, people are drying the land, wetland. EPA and us have to act. If people dry it, if we don't give them permit to build there, they won't build. So we have to look at that. Sometimes people build without permit. You either destroy that property that's been built on the place that shouldn't be built, or we stop them before they build. And sometimes the issue of capacity and logistics can be a problem, but we are on it. And I can rest assured to the public that this is something that we'll definitely do, Clarence. Thank you for having me. Like you said, I think next time we try to
2 hours,
arrange 2 hours so
yeah.
we can have much more in-depth discussion.
Yeah.
But overall, I can say to the Liberian people that the rural sector is going to look by the end of the year, the entire country is going to be turned into a construction site. I can tell you by the level of work that will be done. Thank you, Clarence, for having me.
We're recalling you.
Yes. By the end of the year, you see construction everywhere. Very massive too.
Okay.
In fact, you're already seeing it. Thank you.
Public Works Minister Lafayette Giddings. Tomorrow we'll be back here with the Wednesday, August 5 edition of the show. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much. Maurice Willety and the thing will come in with Liberia Fan. Thanks to Paul, man. I'm out of here.